Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning on this Tuesday. Here we are, a little cool this morning. We're at 58 degrees as we go on the air.
Fall weather and getting ready for Halloween. I know. I'm excited to see.
Today.
Yeah, all the little kids dressed up. It'll be fun.
There you go. And we haven't got any word whether or not sometimes cities will decide to do Halloween like on a Saturday or something of that nature. But we'll keep you posted on that, or you keep us posted. You keep your finger on the pulse of the situation and send us an email. Let us know what's going on in your community.
Yeah, well, I saw these little candies, Bill. Of course, everyone, hopefully, that watches our show knows who the Daily Wire is. Mm-hmm. They have a chocolate company now, and they have his and hers candy bars. Mm-hmm. One, of course, is nutless, and of course, that would be the female, the hers candy bar. And of course, the one with nuts is the his. And they have these little tiny ones that I thought about buying for trick-or-treaters, but I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble or not, because they say like microaggression size.
Get in trouble. Yeah, we get in trouble no matter what you do. So
I know.
And have fun.
Okay, I'm ordering them. I'm ordering them. Giving them to kids.
Because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about this morning, among other things. You imagine we talked about kids now with school shootings, that our kids are afraid to go to school, and the media's done a great job of terrifying the people about it. But we have people who genuinely are in danger of going to school, and they're Jewish, which is pathetic. And it's gotten so bad on the college campuses. I think we ought to defund all of our colleges and take all the public funds away from them and start over.
Well, I just don't think that we should be funding public universities anyways. They get these big endowments, they get all of this, and they get tuition. I'm like, no, you guys are done.
Especially places like here in Georgia, where we have the Georgia Lottery that gives scholarships. Well, I noticed that when that started, I said, well, it's a good idea. And they kept expanding it and paying for more and more. And all of a sudden, tuition fees started going up because they knew they were going to get the money. Mm-hmm. It's become a racket. And then, of course, they've become indoctrination centers more than anything else. And there is a Jewish student named Nathan that goes to New York University, NYU, and he is afraid for his own safety. And he decided he didn't want to use his last name when he was speaking with Steve Doocy on Fox and Friends yesterday.
More pro-Palestinian protests are taking over American college campuses. Watch this. Okay, that was Friday at New York University's library, where students and faculty were involved. They interrupted students and studying with their chants, leaving some students to express fear about going to school as anti-Israeli sentiments are growing on that campus, as is the case at many. Joining us right now is Nathan. He is a senior at NYU who saw the protest. He joins us live. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
That's, as a Jewish kid on that campus where there's so much anti-Israel hate, how does that make you feel?
It makes us feel scared. It makes us feel scared to go to class, scared to wear a Jewish star out in public. A campus that really promotes diversity and inclusion. Right now, about 15% of their population feels alienated, they feel unvoiced, they feel unheard. Yeah,
no kidding. What about the leadership? What about the people who run the school? What do they say?
Nothing, and that's the issue, right? They haven't spoken out. I'm a large proponent of the First Amendment. Even when I don't agree with it, I understand there's two sides to a conflict, and even if I don't agree with your opinion, you have a right to voice that opinion.
Right.
But once it steps over into that boundary of anti-Semitism, that's when we need to draw the line.
Also, historically, at your school, the library has always kind of been like Switzerland. It's a safe space. Not last Friday.
Exactly. It's supposed to be a neutral space. It's supposed to be a place where students come together. It's really the focal point of NYU, and once NYU lets that happen in their library and security stands by without doing anything and nobody shuts it down and students feel unsafe, what's next after that?
Yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine. that we've come to this point in the United States of America.
So here's the other thing, Bill. I've heard a lot of conversations from people, and I saw a video of a Jewish girl taking down posters in another school.
Mm-hmm.
She was Jewish,
Mm-hmm.
and she was taking posters down of people that were kidnapped or held hostage.
What are you doing that for?
Because the
video?
Palestinians matter too, Bill.
Palestinians.
These people have been so indoctrinated.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I don't think that innocent people should be killed. I think that, but Israel does have a right to defend itself. And at the end of the day, how do you negotiate with someone that the only answer they have for you is, I want you dead and I want you gone?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure how you negotiate with that.
You don't. There's no negotiation.
Well, and, there's all this argument of a ceasefire, and you can't have human lives, being killed. And I think that millennials, that generation going on down to Gen Zers, they're unrealistic with reality. This is what we've been doing for centuries. Unfortunately, human behavior, it is what it is. We don't understand the conflict over there in the Middle East nearly as well as we all claim to, right? And I think that the fact that we are now probably going to be involved in a war that we have no business being involved in. We have supported Israel heavily, but I don't think we should have troops on the ground there. I do think Israel has every right to defend themselves, but I think that we have so much going on here at home. We need to stay out of these conflicts. And
no doubt about that.
And I think that, I don't really know where all this pro-Palestinian stuff comes from, but I was listening to something and they said that a lot of the books after the textbooks that children are learning out of now were done after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were a lot of concessions made to make sure that no one thought of
the peace-loving Muslims.
As anything but, right? So I think that there's some reality that is hitting people right now, especially in the Jewish community, as to where people stand with the Jewish community, when they've been told that they've always been supported. I don't think that they feel that anymore, Bill.
Well, that pathetic speech that the president made the other night, he kept talking about Islamophobia. He mentioned that numerous times, rather than he didn't talk much about getting prisoners back, or hostages back, that is. And he didn't mention too much about. He didn't say a thing about Iran, not once. But boy, he sure was harping on Islamophobia and how we need to, and how I love it when this submoron that we have as the chairman, as the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, who keeps saying that now that Israel has a right to defend itself and they have a right to do it, but you have to go by the rules of engagement or rules of war. Really? Imagine if somebody had said that to us after 9/11. You have to go by the rules of engagement.
Well, I guess beheading people, is there a clause in there for that? Or
and all of the other excuse that they give. Well, the babies weren't beheaded till after they were dead. Really? Really?
Well, and here's the thing.
That's your tour de force?
Well, and burning children and the atrocities that we're seeing,
mm-hmm.
and people basically, saying, Israel it should be an immediate ceasefire. I don't think as Americans we would be okay with that if someone had just started beheading Americans.
No. Mm-mm.
I mean,
no ceasefire. But the Israelis have gone along with this.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the they said don't send the troops in yet. Okay, so we're not. We're sending in humanitarian aid, and we're sending in millions of dollars of humanitarian aid, and they're telling us what? This is not going to be enough. This is just for one day. We need 21,000 gallons of water a day for these people. The beat goes on.
Well, here's the other thing. They're saying that now Israel is committing war crimes because they cut off the water and the electricity. It's like,
yeah.
What do you think was going to happen?
Maybe you shouldn't have attacked the people that provide you with water and electricity.
Yeah, well, and Lizzie Warren says, will pro-Israel students be allowed to protest?
Huh.
I think that they're terrified to protest.
Exactly.
Steve Stanton Sr. says, if you don't think this protest is not well funded, organized and supported by the leadership in the universities and government, I have a mountain in Rincon I'll sell you.
Okay. Yeah,
Absolutely.
please.
Lizzie Warren, ceasefire in Gaza is good. Ceasefire in Ukraine is bad. And then Steve Stanton says, echoes from Dalai Lama's regime.
Absolutely right.
And I do think that, it is very interesting that people that are so pro-Ukraine war are so anti-Israel. Like there's like these weird fractures that you're seeing, and we're seeing it more and more in the Democrat Party. I mean, the Republicans are always accused of being so fractured, but I think that you're really starting to see some of this crumble on the Democrat side because you cannot. We have always been pro-Israel, and Israel. I mean, they have a lot of enemies. There are a lot of Muslim countries that do not want them to exist, and the fact that we had normalizing relations happening because of, I hate to say it, Donald Trump's Abraham Accords is pretty miraculous when you look back at what that had to take and the fact that everyone said it can't be done. You can't do it without the Palestinians. And he did it anyways because he's like, if you're not going to play ball, we've tried to negotiate multiple deals with you. Bill Clinton did. I think Obama did. And it's like, if you're not going to take those deals, then we'll just do it without you. And they did. And it was, they were not happy.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It is over the top pathetic what is going on and the government that we have that's talking out of both sides of its mouth.
Bill, we are on every single side of every war. And I love America. I'm 100% pro-America all day, every day. However, I think it's also hard to come to the realization that perhaps we're not always the good guys that the government has, showed the American people, and that we have been interfering in elections. We have been doing coups in other countries for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And we really have had no business being there. If people do not want to, in the Middle East, we're not going to change how they operate. We are not going to change what their value set is.
This has been going on for not just centuries, millennia.
We're not going to change things over there. We have no business being over there, and we have no business getting our troops killed and more Americans killed for a war that really doesn't, it doesn't make sense for us, especially when we have people coming over our border that should not be here, and that I'm real nervous about what's going to happen in the future because of who's over here. And are we going to see terrorist attacks that we've never seen in our lifetime that make 9/11 look like nothing?
Yeah, it's going to be. And the fact that we don't know where these people go, what they're doing, is a stark reality that's going to come back, and the chickens will come home to roost. That's for darn sure. And it's... The logic of this just escapes me because there is none. Why do you let thousands and thousands of people in here who have no business being here in the first place? They're not vetted. They're told that if we got a tennis player coming in who's not vaccinated, he can't play at the U.S. Open. But thousands of people can come across the border. They're not vaccinated.
And they're put up in five-star hotels.
Yeah, we get five-star hotels. You're giving them Social Security benefits or whatever it is. What is it, $2,000 a month?
$2,200, I believe.
$2,200 a month. Yeah.
So Steve Stanton Sr. says distraction is designed. When is the last time Hunter's name led the news? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And
then the shiny thing over here.
Yes, and Steve Stanton says, sadly, I don't love this America Joe is creating. So I want to be very cautious, very, very cautious when we say stuff like this, because this is what they want. You see this as they are trying to penalize people that have better credit. We have to pay higher interest rates because we have better credit. They're trying to make it so we don't believe in a meritocracy anymore. We don't believe in a merit-based system because why work hard? You don't get anything for it. So I want to be very cautious on us hating America. We don't like what Joe Biden's doing, but he has not changed the American people. We still have a fighting spirit. We still believe in freedom, but we have to start acting like it.
Right.
We need to stop bowing down to the government and saying, yes, whatever you want. Yes, that's fine.
When we criticized the Dalai Lama, it was like you doing that because you're racist. You didn't want a black president. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about his policies. We're not talking about him personally. In fact, years and years ago, when Jesse Jackson looked like he might get the Democrat nomination, they threw him under the bus so fast it was unbelievable. So, the Democrats are racist.
Yes.
But somebody called Rush Limbaugh and said, wouldn't it be wonderful, though, if Jesse Jackson did become president of the United States? Then we wouldn't have any more racism anymore. He said, no, it would get worse. And people thought he was crazy. Well, under the Dalai Lama, it got much worse.
Yeah, and Lizzie Warren says, but war makes sense for the military-industrial complex. Yes, and if you look at your senators and your congressmen that have money in stocks with the military companies, it's quite significant how many of them own it.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, I am tired of old men coming up with wars for young men to die in. All right, coming up next.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about, and we'll be talking about who's going to be making a trip to Savannah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we got some great news coming out of Arkansas, so stick around.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us, because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Guess who's coming to town?
People that we really want to see, right, Bill?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, we have...
Can't wait for this.
Yeah, Stacey Abrams. Can't wait to see her. She'll be here today along with...
Biggest loser.
Yeah, well, that's not wrong. And Nikema Williams, who is the head of the Democrat Party here. And, of course... former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. So quite the trio coming in today to support and campaign for Van Johnson.
Bottoms I liked her father a lot, but not her so much. Bought some of his records. What is the position that she has now? Because she got some job in this administration.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
She's in DC. I do know that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what position
unfortunate.
she has, but
Yeah.
they didn't go into that. But they're very important people that will be here. So I don't know. They'll probably be somewhere downtown, would be my guess. So maybe avoid downtown. It's probably going to be a mess today.
Gotta go. Got Kiwanis.
Yeah. So very exciting stuff for everyone in Savannah. The other thing I wanted to touch on really quick was, of course, the speaker vote. I think that this has been a really good testament to why we should have open governance in this country.
Mhm.
We should not do things behind closed doors. We have learned a lot. There are 20 people that need to be primaried immediately. We're also learning a lot of details on where these people's money comes from.
Mhm.
And we also know, some of these people that are running for speaker now, they've all agreed that they will release the January 6th videos. I don't believe all of them, but that's one of their statements that they've made.
Yeah, let's hope that they do. Whoever gets the job. But I'm throwing my hat into the ring. I'm running for speaker.
Oh, very good. Very
Yeah.
good. A ninth option.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I heard that they were going to try and the Democrats thought about nominating Liz Cheney, which would have been great
yeah.
fun ride for everyone. But I do think that,
How about Adam Kasinger?
oh, yeah, just the best Republican we never needed.
That's right.
But here's the thing. I'm not crazy about any of them. And the reason being because this is not just like some random election. This is third in line to the presidency. And you see who we have as president and vice president. Very scary options. And then the third option should be something very, very good. But a lot of these people, no one knows who they are. And they haven't really, they've gone along to get along. Yeah.
Somebody may need a household name in their own household.
Yeah.
So,
And
but get this done. Whoever you put up there, for God's sakes, get it done.
well, I don't know that it's going to be that simple. I don't think that
Well,
we're
I
going
know
to.
it's not going to be that simple.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that we're going to see a Speaker of the House. That's my guess. I think that the party is too fractured in multiple ways in order to vote for any of these people that are very unknown. Jim Jordan. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw McCarthy and Jim Jordan jump back into the race at some
That should
point.
have been a landslide. The Jim Jordan vote should have been one and done.
Yep. But
One and done. That's it. 70% of the people were in favor of that. 70% of the people who actually had an IQ above double digits.
yeah, and the 20 that voted against him felt bullied, and they were not going to be bullied by their constituents calling
yeah.
them. Imagine that.
Mm,
Imagine that. They don't work for you, by the way. We saw that by their vote and how they behaved. So, that speaker vote starts today. We'll see how that ends up. But I do like having things done in an open arena. I don't like when they do things behind closed doors and they do secret ballot because it's very interesting. On the floor, a lot of people voted for Jim Jordan, but behind closed doors, they did not. So I think that that's something interesting to consider. So Steve Stanton Sr. says, sounds like the Hatch Act may be an issue on their visit. And no, they're Democrat is what Steve Stanton says. So, one of the other things that has been quite interesting to see in the news that we're not hearing in the mainstream is, apparently creating memes now is a crime. Bill, did you know?
Yeah. In the United States of America, you can't, the truth is what gets you in trouble.
Well,
and humor.
Yeah, I was going to say, having a little bit of fun is not allowed here, especially if it's against Hillary Clinton.
I was amazed, and we know how bad. I remember how bad I realized things were getting on college campuses when people like Jay Leno and Jerry Seinfeld said, "I'm not doing college concerts anymore because the kids have no sense of humor. They don't laugh at the jokes. They don't. Anybody that's ridiculed or any kind of satire or anything like that either falls flat or you get demonstrated against and get food thrown at you."
Yeah, Bill, that's the thing. It's like it's not fun to be around those people anymore.
No, it isn't.
It's just, and the stuff they care about is just. I was talking to some people last night. Oh, I forgot to mention. I went to go see Dinesh D'Souza's film last night.
Right.
We go in. There's a big group. The parking lot is empty except for the people going to see Dinesh D'Souza's film Police State. We're told they're having issues with the projector and the film won't play for them. How interesting is that?
Hmm.
So they're like, we'll have 2 theaters open on Wednesday. But
which theater was this?
this is the AMC on Shawnee.
Behind
behind-
the old Oglethorpe, behind the
Savannah Mall. Mhm,
Yeah.
yep.
That's now abandoned.
The South Side. So I'm also going to touch on this. Where is the money for the South Side? Because that's where people live, and they have done nothing over there. It is like desolation city over there. And Mike McCann is running for that district. He really cares about the community. He believes in small business. He was talking to me a little bit about how there's not a lot of options for like coffee shops and little like get-togethers and things like that out in that area. But it's because a lot of the money has been going downtown and it hasn't been spread out through the other districts. And so you need someone that's going to fight for your district. And I would say that Mike
Curtis
McCann will
Pertee
do that.
is not the answer, okay? So don't reelect
Obviously.
this guy.
Obviously. I mean, he's done
Say what you
bang
want
up
to.
job in District 6.
Yeah, say what you want to do about Tony Thomas, but by God, he got stuff done. When he said he was going to do something, he did it. He got things established, and the South Side was doing pretty darn well.
Yeah, so that was a big shocker yesterday when we went to the theater and could not see the movie. So Wednesday night that will be showing hopefully at the AMC there, but quite ridiculous.
That's preposterous. They got how many theaters they got there? I think there's 7. There's 11.
Yeah, they said that there was a problem with the actual film that they sent, and I'm just like, how does that happen? I mean, are there?
Please.
Yeah, I just don't.
Get your money back.
No. They gave us a free pass, and then they said to come back Wednesday, which is, there was a guy who actually missed work to go to that. And he's like, I missed out on work. And then, the tickets are $20-something a piece. I mean, it's not cheap to go to a movie anymore. So, and it's considered a private event because that's how they have to do it with films like this. But stuff like this still happens. Imagine that.
Yeah, really. So I didn't think that they were sending. I thought it was actually going to be coming down by satellite or something of that nature. Because why would you just have it on Monday and Wednesday if you had the film? Why wouldn't you show it Tuesday night too?
Because it's a special event, and I think that they had to pay to have the theater reserved, so that they couldn't play the games with the tickets and stuff. But
I see.
I have a feeling that there's
there's something fishy about this.
Yeah,
okay, it's not a coincidence.
No, definitely not. So. Lizzie Warren says maybe this meme conviction explains why late night comedians are no longer funny. And only if you're memeing a Democrat, says Steve Statton. And Lizzie Warren says Curtis Pertee is too busy dealing with his personal financial problems to pay attention to the 6th district. Yeah, you should look into Curtis Pertee's financial issues. Very interesting.
Bring that up.
Well, I don't have any ideas why people that are so indebted to other creditors are running city budgets. They have no business being in government. None. Get your house in order before you're trying to control other people's money, because obviously going out to District 6 on the south side, you don't know how to manage money or get money for your district. So maybe you shouldn't be running.
So the meme said, do we have the meme?
We do have the meme of vote, text for Hillary.
Okay. So
isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting?
So this is a meme for here's the Hildebeest.
How can you get in trouble for putting something like this out? I just think that the thing is, so we have this meme, right? So this is just text, but when you look at what they did on the Democrat side, we have a gal who was promoting also Super Wednesday. So let's take a look.
Hey everybody, this is Christina Wong, and I'm coming out. I'm a Trump supporter, and I just want to remind all my fellow Chinese Americans for Trump, people of color for Trump, to vote. Vote for Trump on Wednesday, November 9th. Really important day. We're going to show this country who's boss, and that's our man, Donald Trump. So don't forget to vote Donald Trump on November 9th.
How come she's not going to jail?
I think she should get 6 months.
Yep. She's got to go. No, this is a video. This took more time and effort. She should have to do more time than the 7 months for the meme for Hillary. But this is what the police state is about. It's about the 2-tiered justice system in this country that we now have.
And if you remember a few years ago, right after we started the war, and after 9/11, we had a very famous football player who went into the army, became an Army Ranger, and was killed, unfortunately, by friendly fire. Of course, as the old saying goes, friendly fire isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But a cartoonist in one of the Oregon papers did a political cartoon criticizing this guy, and it was pathetic. He didn't go to jail, and this is making fun of a soldier who died for us, and left a very cushy NFL position. They pay those guys pretty well. Even the guys that sit on the bench are millionaires.
Yeah.
And he gave that up to go fight for America, lost his life for our cause, and he gets ridiculed by a cartoonist in Oregon. And nothing happened to this guy. Okay?
Well,
All right,
yeah, I Pat Tillman is what Lizzie Warren said.
Right, that was the soldier who was killed.
Yes.
And the NFL player. All right, coming up next.
Well, Trump releases a new ad, and there was some polling that was done lately, and Tucker Carlson is a good option for VP according to the poll. People like it.
Let's see.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like,
rather than my skills. I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Having trouble getting real here these days. Honest to God, it's just unbelievable. If you've written a book about this 10 years ago, you've been thrown out of every publisher's office on the planet, saying nothing could get this crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
and
truth is stranger than fiction.
Well, and here's the thing, Bill. I think, we also had Barry Weiss put out on her Twitter. Thank you, Lizzie Warren, for sending that over this morning. But she basically said, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We hated the messenger, but the message was correct with Trump.
Yeah.
And we're seeing all of that unfold, I think, in the last 2 weeks.
We're finished shooting ourselves in the foot. We're up to the thigh now.
Well, I'm hoping that people are coming to the realization that they were lied to. And I think that that's a hard position to be in. And again, as people kind of come to terms with that, I think that we need to be gracious with those people. Because I do think that people that voted for Biden or voted for what they thought was the right thing really did think that they were pro-Israel, Jewish people. And, we're coming to learn that that's not necessarily true. I mean, we had a woman, the president of, I believe, a synagogue, was murdered over the weekend in New York. We're having all sorts of really bad things happen.
This is in Michigan.
Oh.
This is the most disgusting thing is that every time there's a peace-loving Muslim that gets killed or something, they can't get to the microphones and cameras fast enough to say, we don't want to judge an entire religion by this one. This is a lone wolf. We don't want to judge an entire religion by this. And yet this woman gets stabbed multiple times, brutally murdered. And we've had the Detroit police officer, police chief, say that this was not anti-Semitism. This was, we got evidence that this was just again, we have the lone wolf thing. This was not anti-Semitism, but they haven't given us a suspect. They haven't told us what the motive was. This woman that had apparently from her funeral, was held Sunday, had no enemies. She was a beloved member of this synagogue and this community, and yet with all this going on, and how stupid do they think we are?
She just happened to be Jewish, right?
They are, yeah. This wasn't anti-Semitism. They keep re-emphasizing that over and over and over again. Well, what was it besides bloody murder?
That's the thing, Bill. I don't know what it's going to take, but I do think that the last couple weeks have opened a lot of people's eyes. So I think that we do need to be gracious, even though it is really difficult for people that have been shouting from the rooftops that you need to open your eyes. And when people do have their eyes opened, I think we need to be gracious and make sure that we're kind to those people, because it is really difficult to admit that you're wrong, especially when it's probably part of your whole identity to vote for a Democrat. And what they've done to the Jewish community is just disgusting.
Well, it's interesting because the hatred for Donald Trump, it goes beyond any and all understanding. Bill O'Reilly was on yesterday with Trey and Buck, and and he said that he had talked to a friend of his over the weekend who was a total anti-Trumper. He said, "Let me just ask you a question. Think of how bad things are now. Think of how good they were under Donald Trump. With inflation, we didn't have wars going on. We didn't have. I mean, he just went down the list of all the things, how good things were. Jobs were coming back. The economy was the best it's ever been. Inflation was the lowest it had been since 1969, and companies were coming back on shore. We were cutting the taxes. We had plenty of energy. We were selling energy to the rest of the world. Things were just going great. So, compared to what we have now, would you vote? Would you continue to vote for Democrat? And he said, yes.
That's the other thing.
This is what we're up against.
Well, here's the other thing. You can literally turn off the TV during the Trump administration and your life was good. Mm-hmm. You turn the TV off now, you still go to the grocery store, you still fill up at the gas pump, you still get to see, if you're lucky enough to live in a big city, you see all of these progressive Democrats rioting and looting and,
mm-hmm.
You can't turn that off. During the Trump administration, if you turned off the news, everything was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, really. But, there's been a lot of talk of a Trump Tucker ticket. And I think, yes, I'm in for that. I love Tucker. And I do think the new ad that Trump just put out, having Tucker be the voiceover is perfect. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Millions of Americans sincerely love Donald Trump. They love him in spite of everything they've heard. They love him often in spite of himself. They love Donald Trump because no one else loves them. The country they built, the country their ancestors fought for over hundreds of years, has left them to die in their unfashionable little towns, mocked and despised by the sneering half-wits with finance degrees but no actual skills who seem to run everything all of a sudden. Whatever Donald Trump's faults, he is better than the rest of the people in charge. At least he doesn't hate them for their weakness. Donald Trump, in other words, is and has always been a living indictment of the people who run this country. That was true 4 years ago when Trump came out of nowhere to win the presidency, and it's every bit as true right now. Trump rose because they failed. It's as simple as that. If the people in charge had done a halfway decent job with the country they inherited, if they'd cared about anything other than themselves, even for just a moment, Donald Trump would still be hosting Celebrity Apprentice. But they didn't. Instead, they were incompetent and narcissistic and cruel and relentlessly dishonest. They wrecked what they didn't build, they lied about it. They hurt anyone who told the truth about what they were doing. That's true. We watched. America is still a great country, the best in the world, but our ruling class is disgusting. A vote for Trump is a vote against them. That's what's going on in this country.
And once again, you see the crowds that show up for this guy. And when Joe Biden or when the Hildebeest was running, you could get 1,000 people to show up for a refrigerator opening in Los Angeles.
I think they were paying people to show up for a lot of things, but
well, the only time they showed up, she actually had these rock groups performing for her. Maybe he'll get Taylor Swift to perform for him now. But they showed up, and as soon as the band left the stage, so did the crowd.
Imagine
they didn't
that.
stick around for the Hildebeest.
I mean, would you?
No, heck no.
Not a fan.
And what bothers me as much as anything else is how much she charges to give a speech somewhere.
How much is it, Bill?
It's got to be six figures.
Ooh.
At least. And in fact, when there was a group, a college group that wanted Chelsea Clinton to come speak to him, and I think that was $85,000 or something. And they said, no, we're not going to pay that. And remember how they tried to make Chelsea into this journalist?
I do recall that. That ended quickly, didn't it?
NBC hired her to do these features that were terrible. They started her at $750,000. And she didn't last but about 2 months because all the other NBC reporters said, I've been here 12 years and I'm not making anywhere near $750,000. And you're hiring this know-nothing cretin out of high school or out of college because she was the president's daughter and she's going to get $750,000. It was just god awful.
Well, not only that, I think that they're preparing her to run for office, which is really exciting. I saw that headline a couple days ago.
Flare.
Yeah, so
like in Michelle Obama.
Well, I think that's the other thing, Bill. We need to stop allowing this to be a tradition among families to run for office. I think that we're seeing how that's worked out with, Bush. And I mean, that's the other thing. Bush, I think the Bush family has, they have Jeb Bush, they had George W., they had George Sr., and then they've had multiple cousins running, including John Kerry is related to the Bushes.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. So I think we're seeing all this. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be related to him, but I would like to use this plane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It seems to not, put out any sort of carbon, that plane of his.
Well,
so
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I just, so pro-environment.
I think it runs on solar panels.
Steve Statton, I'm sorry. He says, if she was at my front door, speaking of Hillary, giving a speech, I'd call the Popo. And he says all the Bushes are rhinos. Yes, they definitely are. I do think that, like I said, we need to pay more attention as Americans and stop allowing, families and different people to be in these positions, and also allowing the leadership within the conferences to pick candidates or run candidates in primaries. The GOP at the county level isn't allowed to get involved in primaries, but yet the leadership in the Republican Party, they are allowed to put money behind different candidates. I think that that's wrong, Bill.
Oh, I agree.
So reality check, that's how it works, people. So the party is run by the people. It should be for the people. And the leadership gets to choose where the money goes. I think that that's just ridiculous. And it's not the leadership in the GOP. It's the leadership in the Republican Party at the legislative level.
So be aware. Meanwhile, there is a governor who is standing up for America.
Yeah, she's finally hitting the headlines.
Yes, sir.
It's taken too long, but
Sarah
I do
Huckabee Sanders is doing
love her.
Absolutely yeoman service in Arkansas, and we'll give you the latest after the break.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
You're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Heading down the home stretch here for this Tuesday.
Yes, and Sarah.
24th day of October.
I know, next week is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday.
Yep, a week from today.
Yes. You know, Bill, we have all these governors that are supposed to be doing things for their states, but I will say that I think Sarah Huckabee Sanders is probably going to be on everyone's radar moving forward because she is signing some serious legislation.
Real deal. She is. She has done wonders. She was fantastic press secretary. So much so she got thrown out of restaurants.
Yes.
In New York and Washington.
Yes.
Which was a disgrace, of course. I don't know why we, sometimes as conservatives, why don't we rally around these people? We should have gone to that restaurant and just stood in front of the doors and said, nobody's coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is one of the most memorable things that I remember her saying in an interview was, President Trump turned to her and said, the reason they do this to you is because you're good at your job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she said that she just, took that moment in and realized that he was right. And that, if she wasn't good at her job, they wouldn't care. But because she was so good and she, did a great job of making sure that they couldn't do all the little spin moves that they love to do in the media, they definitely did not like her, along with Kayleigh McEnany, too.
Imagine, yeah. Could you imagine if the media would have had a cow right now if Cringe Jean-Pierre was refused service at a restaurant?
Can I just tell you, she is like the worst press secretary. I'm like, at least Jen Psaki was a good liar.
Yeah, this woman is just a total idiot.
Yeah.
Well, here's the opposite end of the spectrum. As Sarah Huckabee Sanders says, no more of this woke crap in our legislature.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us. It's great to stand up here with some of the most influential and amazing women from across our state. We are all here to say, frankly, that we've had enough trying to erase women and girls, enough denying our biological differences from men, and enough of the craziness that is taking over our country. I've had the honor of being both the first woman and the first mother to serve as the governor of Arkansas. Before that, I was the first mother and only the third woman to serve as the White House press secretary. Because of that, I came into this role with a few pretty unique experiences. Among them is giving birth to 3 amazing kids. That experience underscored to me that a woman's perspective is important and fundamentally different from a man's. Nowadays, though, only conservatives seem to be making that point. On the left, women have taken a back seat to political correctness. It's why Senator Irving and Representative Barker had to pass the Fairness in Women's Sports Act to defend our girls across the state. They're using nonsense words to erase women and girls, and more importantly, to erase our voices and our experiences. Today, we're taking a stand against woke nonsense. What frankly started as a fad among a few grad students has seeped down into corporations, the healthcare industry, and increasingly state government. It's demeaning to women, and it needs to stop. In a moment, I'll sign an executive order banning a number of all sorts of ridiculous words from state government documents. Those include words like pregnant people, laboring person, birth giver, and several other nonsense terms that have cropped up in recent years. Some on the left will accuse us of being nitpicky, that Arkansas should just lay down and accept the cultural revolution without complaint. I say it's the exact opposite. It's the left that decided that woman is a dirty word. It's the left that decided we needed to toss out basic biology and basic grammar along with it. I think they're just mad that conservatives are starting to fight back, and they better get ready because we're just getting started.
So take that as a warning, yeah. But excited to see what else she's going to do. She's done a great job. And
send up a flare.
I wonder when their legislature goes into session, because I wonder if that's why we're just hearing about some of the things that she's doing, because their legislature has just gone in. But I'm not sure on that. All of the state legislatures are so different.
One of the things we were told that, brevity is the soul of wit, said Shakespeare. I know that, Jeff Foxworthy, one of the greatest comedians of all time, I guess he won't perform on college campuses either, said one of the things, he has a list of things you'll never hear a Southerner say. And one of them is, Alex, I'll take Shakespeare for 2,000. But let me just quote Shakespeare, that brevity is the form of wit, is the soul of wit. And when you change woman to birthing person, when you change other whatever,
and I'm offended. For the record, I'm offended.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
hopefully you guys all hear that. I'm in the minority, so I'm offended.
Okay.
You have to bow down to what I want. I want to be called a mother. There you go. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate you.
Okay. So much for that.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, so you're taking one word and making 3 or 4 of them out of it. That's not brevity. And we know what the words mean. Okay. And there is a difference in men and women. There is a difference. God made it that way. All you have to do is read. It's right there in Genesis. I mean, you don't have to read very far in the Bible to get to this stuff. Okay. And for you to be destroyed by so-called science and for this crap to be taught in schools is just pathetic. And frankly, all these teachers ought to be fired. I know there's a teacher shortage. There's a shortage of everything these days.
Mm-hmm.
But get rid of them. If we have to have 700 kids in a class, so be it. They talk about the student-to-teacher ratio. Nonsense. I grew up. I'm one of those
Are you a boomer?
I'm a boomer. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of in the middle, but I'm a boomer. And we had 30, 40 kids in our classrooms growing up, and teacher was God. I mean, we could be acting up when they walked out of the room. If a teacher, even the one next door, walked in the classroom, you could have heard a pin drop in seconds. There was no the idea of even assaulting a teacher was so foreign. It never even occurred to us. You did what the teacher said, regardless. You may not have liked it, and many didn't, but you did it, and there was no questioning about that. Getting in trouble when I was there was, getting caught in the hall without a hall pass. Oh, let me slit my wrist. Chewing gum in class. There was a dress code. We had Bermuda shorts day. We had blue jeans day. Other than that, you were talking. You wore nice clothes almost like you'd wear to church. And then you had a special teacher appreciation day where you dressed up, coat and tie for the guys. Nice formal dresses for the girls. It was. I mean, this has gotten so far off course. And by the way, they taught reading, writing, and arithmetic. Something that the Oregon school system has decided you don't need anymore.
Well, and the other thing, Bill, is the class size issue has been an issue. I mean, that was something they were talking about when I was growing up, and we had 30, 35 kids in a class. And I just think it's also based off of the respect that people raise their kids with. And I was talking to someone last night about the difference in like growing up in the city versus being in a rural community. It was just vastly different. So when you communicated with kids from the city, it was very different, their experience and our experience.
Well, when I enrolled my freshman year at Ole Miss, my biology class met in one of the auditoriums because there were like 400 kids in the class. One teacher and a graduate assistant.
And that's how college is.
Yeah. My chemistry class, 150, 200 kids.
So that's the other thing. Are you setting them up for success when you're saying you need 30 kids in a class size and then they go to college and there's 400?
Yeah.
I mean that's an adjustment, right? I don't know if you're setting people up for success if you're doing that.
Exactly.
I mean, just a thought.
And you know what? We learned the stuff. Just amazing.
Yeah. Well, Lizzie Warren wants to say to you, Bill, don't go bashing Southern intelligence. And when bodies are excavated, they can determine sex just by the bone structure. Mm-hmm. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Science at its finest. Well, that's going to do it for us today. But remember to become a member. You can make a donation on our website, thelocalspin.com. You can also advertise with us.
Yep.
If you have a small business.
We need your bucks, or we're not going to be here.
Well, and just remember, we're headed into 2024 where it's about to get really, really wild, and there isn't going to be a conservative voice here in Savannah if we don't get your help.
Mm-hmm. So please help.
Yes. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Catch you for Hump Day.